Well, I think there were folks that were trying to become. The bottom line is we had so much success completely independent that folks wanted. It was good that they wanted us to move in a certain direction of signing, right? So
Yeah.
Master P had a moment where he was going to sign. Like, he had all these deals on the table. We were talking to different folks. And he almost signed, the one he was closest to signing was over with Craig Coleman at Big Beat Atlantic. And part of that deal was, and P would say, well, we're going to have to sign with somebody because, the heat's on and people are coming out. We're going to have to do a deal with somebody. So what happened, that when we got the contract, it wasn't real favorable. It was an artist contract. Now, dollars up front, advance money was nice. And I think the biggest thing that was for P, he wanted to fall on the sword and say, hey, I'm going to fall on the sword and sign this artist deal, but we're going to still keep No Limit going. And the way this contract read was like if he would have signed that deal, he couldn't even rap on a No Limit record without their permission. So they could say, hey, yeah, you can't rap on this record. Hey, you can't even do, like the conversation I had with P was like, well, if you sign this deal, you can't even rap on C's record. You can't rap on Silk's record. You can't do it. You can't be a part of TRU. You can't do anything unless they say it's okay. So I was very influential, like saying, no, we're not going to do this. I said, we're not signing this deal. We're going to hold out. Now, King George and C. Murder were frustrated with me because they literally wanted to kill me because they were like, man, we're going to make this money. We're going to blow up. And at that point, we were already, well known. We were already popular. So holding out for the right deal with Priority was important. So there were conversations around, hey, we need to make a move, but we were fully independent. Like, we did exactly what we wanted, put the projects the way we wanted. The main thing was the concept of putting out 20-plus albums in a year happened to be about we wanted to have volume. We wanted to own the industry. We wanted to own the charts, the Billboard charts. And anyone who's been in this business, if you are on the Billboard charts, even if you're at 200, retailers back then looked at where you were and said, what's this project? What's this album? We got to bring more units in. When they brought more units in, then you've got price and position, especially if you're giving discounts on product. And once you did that, more people went and bought your album because you had the right price and positioning. Then you'd move up the Billboard charts, and then they would buy more albums. So if you just get on Billboard charts, even for a few weeks, you're talking about thousands and thousands of albums sold, especially independently. So if you're signed to a major label, you're at 8 to 12%, and you're usually advanced all this money. So what I would always tell folks, look, let's say for easy math, we're saying, hey, you're going to get 10% of a record. Let's say you're looking at 80 cents a record. We'll round up to $1 a record. Well, once they advanced you all this money, $250, let's say they advanced you $300,000 and you're getting $1 a record, and that's being very generous. You're looking at the video and you're looking at promotional tour. You could be in the hole $600,000 before you sold one album. So if you're getting $1, usually you're probably getting 60 to 80 cents for an album. That's probably around where you are. Now we're going to say $1 for easy math, but if you've $600,000 in the hole and you haven't paid your taxes because you're at that 50 to 55%, you got to pay taxes on that money, and most of the artists don't. And the next thing you know it, you're $600,000 in the hole before you sold one album. Well, think about that. At $1 a record, you need to sell 600,000 albums in order for you to break even. And you haven't paid your taxes. And not only that, you got to go gold, more than gold, in order for you just to break even. So that's why the major labels, like all these major labels and these artists really wanted to be stars, they weren't making any money. and they were in a situation where they were kind of drowning. They're like, oh my God, I got to 600,000. I didn't pay this taxes. The IRS is coming after me because I don't have any money. I bought stuff. I probably spent the money instead of buying land and things that will appreciate. We're buying gold and renting apartments and spending money on cars that depreciate. And you're in a situation where you got to go gold minimum just to hopefully break even. Now, as an independent artist, you're making anywhere between $6 and $8 a unit. Let's say $7 a unit if you own the label, and then you're probably about, depending on your deal, at least making $3 or $4 a unit as an independent. So think about this: if you sold 100,000 copies and you were making $4 or $5 a unit, you're making grossing $500,000, right? Compared to, selling 600,000 and you're not even breaking even or barely breaking even. So the reason why the independent game made sense is because you own your masters, you own your publishing, and you're able to make more dollars per unit sold, and you don't need to sell as many records. So you had guys who may have 75, 80,000 albums in the marketplace. They might sell 6,000, 8,000 records. You're going to get on Billboard charts. You might be at 200, but you'll get on there for a week or two if you're selling 6,000 or 8,000 copies a week. So if you're selling 6,000 or 8,000 copies a week, you're probably in the bottom. You're probably below 150 on the pop charts. And if you're doing that, still going to make, you get 70,000 out there in the marketplace, you're still going to make $350,000, $400,000 in revenue that's going in your pocket, minus the manufacturer, that kind of stuff, yeah. But you're still making $200,000, $300,000, and you own your masters. So the independent game was big that way. But the folks who wanted to be stars, they would sign on the dotted line to anything, and they get $250,000, $230,000, $250,000, and then they basically be stuck. That's why famous folks, famous artists like TLC went broke, because they signed these deals and they were probably getting 6%, 5% on their album, and they had this advance money. They had to pay the label back. They had to pay the production company back, and that's how you sell millions of records. One of the biggest stars, the biggest groups ever in the history of R&B, and you're still broke. You're broke at the end of the deal.
Make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications, like, comment, share. Also go over to UGSforlife.com, download the entire archive, and check out new episodes on Apple Podcasts and Blog Talk Radio.